And so here we are at a 56-hour fast as we move through this week. Amazing. I'm excited because I am doing something for my body. And you're doing something for your body. You've made a decision that you are going to take care of your health. You are going to do what you need to do to be healthy. Wherever you find yourself, whatever's been going on in the past, right now you're showing up because, hey, this is what we're going to do, and we are living limitless lives. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Hey, if you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am excited and glad that you're here. If you are new, if you have questions, go ahead and put those questions into the comments and make sure you put a Q in front of it so that we'll know that that's a question that we need to get to. I've got some amazing things that we're going to be doing here in a minute. We're going to look at my monitors. Let's go ahead and pull over there. I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at, my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And then, of course, down below, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report. Whatever platform you're joining us from, whether that's Twitch or Instagram or Facebook, of course, here on YouTube, LinkedIn, welcome, welcome, welcome. And a special shout out to our Accelerator members who are joining us. Thank you for coming through and joining and being in this space. If you are fasting, if you're fasting with us this week, whether you fasted yesterday as the first day, fasted today, or you're going to fast into tomorrow, I want you to go ahead and put yes in the comments. If you fasted for any period of time over the last 2 days so far, and are going into the next day in our 72-hour fast, go ahead and put in yes into the comments because we want to make sure that we get there and we want to say hello to you. Very excited right now that we have our series, our Move campaign that's going on. So let's go ahead. We're going to take a look and listen to that promo right now. Welcome to Move, metabolic optimization via exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is Move. Let's get started. All right. So very excited that is going on right now. So if you've not jumped in yet, if you've not taken opportunity to just join us so that you can just plug in to what we're doing there, I want you to go ahead and do that as we continue that series. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's going on with my blood sugars right now. Let's see. Let's hop over here. This is my Freestyle Libre that you're looking at. And right now, my Freestyle Libre says that my blood sugar is 56, and that actually is appropriate because I am right now 56 hours into this week's fast. That's right, 56 hours as we head to 72 hours, which we'll be doing. We'll be ending that tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a little while. Okay, so that's what my blood sugar is right now. If you look at the graph, which is right about here, you'll see that for most of the day, that graph has been in the red. That means that my blood sugars have been below 70 for most of the last 12 hours, according to the Freestyle Libre. We'll see here in a minute what the other monitor says, and then of course we'll compare that with my Keto Mojo and my Contour. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the reports that we can get. Actually, let's go back here for just a sec. And so here is what's been going on over the last 12 hours. I can run my finger over there and you can see those numbers right in here as they change. We've been, like I said, below 70. Right here we popped up right above 70 for a little while. and straddle that, and then back down over the course of the rest of the afternoon, right into the 60s, and of course now where we are at 56. Looking at the reports, time in range says that I am in range 77% of the time over the last 7 days, and 23% of those of the percentage of out of 100, I've been below 70, and that typically happens during my fasting periods. Okay, so that's what you're seeing there. If I look at my 90-day time in range, we're 84%, with 16% being lows, and once again, those lows occurring during the fasting window. And then, of course, getting out of here and looking at my average blood sugar right here for the last 14 days, 87, 14 days, 86, 30 days, 86, and 90 days, 88. And then breaking that down, those numbers into the different times of the day, you'll see there we've been ranging anywhere from 85 to 94. And I like this graph or this view because it allows me to look at what's been going on with my blood sugars over the course of different times of the day. And now let's go ahead and let's take a look to see what my Dexcom is saying, my Dexcom G7. And so here we are. Dexcom says that my blood sugar right now is an 81. And then down here you'll see the graph just like we did before. Let's take a look over the last 12 hours. Running my finger, notice that we were in the 80s and 90s for most of the last 12 hours. If I look at this in a 24-hour view, once again, running my finger across there, 80s, 90s, 80s, 90s, right in here this morning, going up to about 113-ish, and then back down, down, and then, of course, where we are right now in the 80s and 90s, okay? And so that's what my monitors are saying. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's going on according to my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And so let's go ahead and get a strip. Here is my blood sugar strip for the Keto Mojo. I need one for ketones. That's blue. And here's my strip for the Contour. And here are some Lancets that we're going to use. And as you know, I don't typically use a Lansing device. I just use the Lancet. I just grab them, find a finger, and then go from there. So that's what we're going to do right now. And I took out two because I want to make sure that I have enough just in case I have to do another finger stick, which sometimes will happen if I don't grab that drop quick enough. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's put this in here. This is getting my Contour strip. We're going to go ahead and open up the Keto Mojo test strip for blood sugar. Get that out. Let's get that in here. And then at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the ketone strip, because that's the one that typically gives me some trouble, but looks like it's actually coming out pretty easily today. So I'm going to just put this off to the side for now, and let's go ahead and let's grab this is my Lancet. Find a finger, right? Let's do right about there. Ow, 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 ow. And yep, we actually got two drops because I think I got two sticks. All right, get that going. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? So we are now 56 hours into this week's fast. And let me get back on this screen. So right now, 53 according to the Keto Mojo, 53 according to the Contour, 55 according to the Freestyle Libre, And then if I go back to my Dexcom, the Dexcom says I'm 81. So about 30 points difference between the Dexcom and the others. Let's go ahead and get this strip out. Go ahead and start, or at least insert this strip into the Keto Mojo, and that's for the ketones. And let's get that one started. So once again, what do you think it's going to be? What do you think it's going to be? I'm trying to find something to wipe that off. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and 1.8. 1.8. Let's go over here. Let's grab my Keto Mojo app. Oh, so, okay, so 1.8 is what my ketones are, and let's go ahead and sync that. Pull that into the app itself. And it says try again, so we'll do that. And while that syncs, let's talk a little bit about ketones. So ketones are breakdown products, of course, from fat burning. And so whenever we see ketones, we know that the body is breaking down fat, or at least it's not using sugar for energy. Ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and above that, so above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. And so right now, according to Keto Mojo, and it's syncing there, I am 1.8, so I'm above the therapeutic ketosis into the, above the nutritional ketosis into the therapeutic ketosis range. And I like to see that, and as soon as this pulls up, we'll take a look at a few numbers, because when my ketones are high and my blood sugar is low normal, then I know that my body has to be burning fat, because if my blood sugars are low, the body has to have another source of energy. And the other source of energy that it has, and we all have some stored energy, that's called fat cells. The body goes, it breaks that down, it converts it into two components. One is, and you've heard the phrase triglycerides. So it takes those triglycerides and breaks it into free fatty acid. That goes off to form ketones. And then it converts the glycerol part into sugar. And that's why some people will ask me, hey, you're fasting and you've been fasting for 48 hours, 56 hours, 72 hours. How is it that your blood sugar continues to go to fluctuate? Why is it not continually going down to zero? Well, it doesn't do that because my body still has the ability to burn or create sugar from the fat cells. Okay? All right, so it looks like we have our sync, and let's go over and look at this view, get that one off the screen. And so we're looking at these three numbers right here, right? So 1.6 is my GKI, or glucoketo index. The glucose is 53, which is in the red, and then my ketones 1.8. And that 1.6 that you see there is a calculated number. So let me remember this. Let's see, 53 and 1.8. So I'm going to go over and grab my calculator. Right? And so 53 was my blood sugar. I have to convert it to international units by dividing by 18, right? 2.9, and then I divide that by the 1.8, which was my ketones. That gives me 1.6, which is the number that we have right here, okay? So whenever we're talking about ketones, we want ketones to be high, we want glucose to be low normal, and we want the GKI to be low. Let's take another look at that. Let's look at the graph for this. Let's back up a little bit, and right there. And just a couple of points. So the tan line that you're seeing, that's the tan solid line, that is my blood sugar. And then the turquoise dotted dashed line that you see there, those are my ketones. And so when blood sugars are high, up here, 99, my ketones are low. Down there, it's actually 0. As my blood sugars drop, and we go from 99 to 72, the ketones correspondingly go up from 0 to 0.9. That was when we did our check-in last night, actually. And then as the blood sugars continue to go down, and of course now we're 53, then my ketones get higher, 1.8. And the reason for that is that glucose, whenever it's high, then insulin is high. When insulin is elevated, then ketones can't exist in the same space with the insulin for long. And so as the blood sugars go down, the insulin levels also go down. And as a result of that, then the body goes into beta oxidation or burning fat. And there you see that the ketones go up. And one of the reasons that we like that is because all of the benefits of improved metabolism happens once we are lowering our insulin levels. One of the things that we look at, and you've been with me as we've tracked this, is my weight. And so when the ketones are coming out, because my blood sugar is low, my insulin has gone down, that tells me that my body is burning fat, because that's where ketones come from. And so as my ketones are going up, and you saw that there, I'm looking to see, are there other benefits to that process? One of them is what we just saw. We tracked the blood sugars, and so the blood sugars have remained in the normal range. We'll take a look at my monitor or my report here in just a minute. They've stayed in the normal range, and my weight continues to improve. Okay, so 182 is where we are right now. We've not looked at this graph in a while, but let's go ahead and let's take a look at it. And so this is just tracking my weight over the last several years. And so here we were 260 at one point, my highest weight being 287. And then, we fluctuated up and down, up and down, up and down. And one of the points here to be made is, as you're watching your weight, you're looking for a continuous downward trend, not necessarily that it has to be a straight line, right? It will fluctuate. And so down to where we are, so we went down here and then back up. And so where we are right now at 182. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking to see as our blood sugars are changing and as our body is burning fat. We want to see fluctuations. We want to see those numbers improving over the course of time. Let's go ahead and take a look at my monitor. And so here is my Dexcom Clarity report. And looking at this over the course of the last 14 days, my average blood sugar 120. We tell people we want blood sugars to be between 100 and 120. So that's in keeping with that, or pretty close. Here we are, our time in range 99% of the time. And so this goes anywhere from 70 to 180 is the range that you see right down here. Okay, so right in that area. And my glucose management indicator, if I were to get an A1C right now, based on those numbers, my A1C should be around 6.2. Now, it's not going to be completely accurate or completely on that number. It'll be around that number. Several months ago, we did a show where we looked at my personal blood sugars and labs as it relates to my diabetes and visiting my doctor. So go back and watch that show. You get to see how close my A1C was to what we're seeing here on this graph. If I look at this over the course of 90 days, and that was actually 14 days we just looked at. So if I look at this over the course of 90 days, my average is 117 over the last 90 days. Time in range, 98%, range being anywhere from 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator being 6.1. Now going back and looking at the daily graph, and we're going to go back. Let's start this way. Let's start where we started fasting, right in here, right about here. So blood sugars of 120, 130, and going forward, we stayed in the 130s, 140s. And I want you to make sure that you go back and watch the show that we did. As you saw, the last meal that I ate as I got into my fast. Okay, so here we are in the low 100s, spiking up to about 120, 125. And here we are right at about one day, so 24 hours into the fast. We started out in the 120s, here we are 107. In the low 100s, dipping below 90 or below 100 as we went through the rest of that day. And then coming into the morning today, We're in the low 90s, 80s, and 90s. Drop down there. That one was an anomaly. That one I don't believe right in there. See how it dipped down and then immediately came up to the 80s. So that was something going on with the monitor right in there. And then coming into the rest of the day, low 100s, low 100s, low 100s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and into where we are right now, into the 80s. Dipped down into the 70s right there for a little while, and remaining in the 80s and 90s. And so once again, if you did not see that episode where I did that fast, the pop-up live, so you can see what what my blood sugars were over the course of the last 56 hours, related to what they were in the beginning and what they were when I started fasting. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. I see Gian out there. So I see Jennifer. Jennifer says, howdy. Let's see, let's do this one. Jennifer says, howdy all. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for coming through. Let me do one thing here really quickly. Let's do this one, that one. Oh, here we are. All right, so Jennifer says, howdy all. Thank you for being here with us, Jennifer. And then Gian says, hi, doctor. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer hi, Gian from Jennifer. Hey, doc. Wow, 56 hours. That's right, 56 hours into this week's fast. If you are fasting with us, by the way, go ahead and put yes. Whether you fasted day 1, fasted day 2, or you're currently fasting as we get into, and we are now into the 3rd day, by the way. Jennifer says, doing well, completed a 36-hour fast. Oh, tonight, come on. Hey, Jennifer. Good for you, good for you. And Steve saying, hello, friends. Gian says she hopes to get there 56 hours one day. And it is doable, it is doable. Great job, Jennifer. Congrats from Gian. Hi, Steve from Gian. Hey, Steve from Jennifer. 1.5 was what Gian was guessing for my ketones. And as you saw there, the ketones were 1.8? I forgot there just that quickly. So 1.8 is where we were. So so that is we love that, right? Because that is telling us that we are having that says to us that yes, we are seeing beta oxidation going on, and I love that. So all right, and then so Gian says that 1.5. And she says, well, great. So right after that, great job, doctor. Yeah, so I love that as well. And just so excited that we get to see the benefit that our community members are getting as we are doing the things that we need to do for our health and for our bodies. So I love seeing the benefits that you guys are getting, and seeing the benefits I'm getting here myself. So so we're excited about all of that. So let's go ahead and we've been talking as we moved into our Blueprint series. We did that. We started that on Monday. We launched that on Monday. So if you've not done so yet, make sure you get back over there and watch that series, the very first show, as we got into this series of blueprints. And we've been walking through several things over the course of the last few months, and we've been talking about the things that we're doing for our health, right? So that's ultimately what this is all about. What are we doing for our health? And we've had several amazing conversations, and this is a continuation of that. In particular, how do we go about installing a system and maintaining the things that we've learned over the course of the last little while, actually, as we've been working together. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look. Let me get this off the screen. Let's take a look and let's get into that discussion here tonight. Okay, here we go. We're talking about our blueprints. All right, so if you're new to this journey, I want you to think of each fast as a blueprint draft for your life. Your experiment, you may try something, you adjust, you refine until your structure works without force. That's not just fasting, that's design in action. That's design in action. When I started fasting consistently, this was always a thought, right? This was always a tough spot. So hour 45, hour 50, that's when my mind would say, you've proven enough. You can stop. But once I crossed the threshold a few times, I realized something amazing. I was no longer fighting the fast. The system that I had built, the system I had designed, was carrying me into the fast and carrying me through the fast. And so that really is what we want to talk about. How structure turns into systems that can sustain your health, sustain your habit, and sustain your life. So that's where we're heading. So structure, effort, rhythm, feedback, and identity. We're going to walk through those as we move into this amazing space. Discipline got you started. You say that. Discipline got you started. Structure is what keeps you steady. I want you to think about a bridge. Effort of the crew that builds it is, and the design, right? They're following the blueprints. They came out and they started putting rocks and bricks and sand, and right, so they're building. And so the effort got them there. The effort got them there. But once that's done and it's up, it is the structure that was built that allows us to drive across that bridge, that allows us to do and spend for years and years and years and years, right? So it's not that they continue doing the effort. The effort is done, and it is the structure that continues to take us across the bridge each time when we go there, okay? So here's our first principle. Structure creates stability. At 56 hours, your body is balanced. Insulin is low. Glucose is steady. Ketones are rising. Your system is no longer guessing. It's operating on a plan. And that's what structure does. It takes the uncertainty out of the effort. Like I said, discipline got you started, but structure keeps you steady. And just like the crew that puts effort into building that bridge, design is the blueprint that lets it stand when the workers go home. So when the effort is done, when we've built it, we've put everything in place that needs to be there, it is that structure that allows it to continue to function. The structures are what allows you to rest without losing momentum. And there's science behind this. Mm-hmm. By this stage, your liver is comfortably producing glucose, and your body is running a stable energy budget. It's transitioned from using simply the glucose, and it is now getting those ketones. That's biological structure. It's reliable, it's predictable, it's sustainable. Structure creates the space for consistency to breathe. Yeah. I want you to think about this. When and where in your routine do you still depend on motivation or depend on effort instead of structure? Because if everything is dependent on the motivation, on the effort, then we run into issues. Because at some point, what's going to happen, right? That motivation is going to, and the effort is going to wane. So we don't want to always be relying on that. So effort creates, structure creates stability. That's our point number one. Number two is that principle number two, effort becomes systems. This principle is the heart of what we're talking about in this episode. What starts as discipline eventually turns into design. Effort becomes a system. Early on, when we started fasting, it takes work. It takes timing the meals, resisting the snacks, tracking the hours. But over time, the pattern teaches your body how to operate without you managing every single detail. It becomes to the point now where you just, it's for instance, we're fasting and it's Tuesday and so we start our fast. It's Friday, we end our fast. Your metabolism has learned the schedule. Cortisol levels drop. Ghrelin rhythm stabilizes. Ketones produce consistent fuel. That's the moment where discipline hands the keys to design. So because you've been in the process, you've been doing the stuff, you've been paying the price, if you will. You've been consistent. You've been doing it. And when you do that, when you're consistent, when you develop metabolic flexibility in fasting, for example, the process is no longer a chore. And so your discipline just says to your design, to your system, to your blueprint, hey, go on, take it on, take it from here. You don't have to force what you've already formed. There was a time I had to mentally coach myself through every fast. Come on, Dwayne, you can do that. Yeah, just a little while longer. Oh man, you ate that thing, you broke the fast. And so this was in my head. But now it has become habitual. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't times when I see somebody eating something and my brain says, hey, that happens particularly at work when my team gets up and it's lunchtime and everybody's going to do their thing. And, I'm sitting working at my desk, or I may go outside for a walk, and then come back in and, they've used the microwave, they've made something in the kitchen, in the break room, and I smell it. Right? And those smells are so powerful. That happens. My brain says it. But the systems that I've created knows what to do. That's the gift of repetition and trusting in my design. By 56 hours, autophagy is active and growth hormone has increased 5-fold. Your body is self-maintaining. Your system has taken over. So which part of your life, as we talk about, and we mentioned in our 33-hour fast last night, that the body in the fasting is also teaching us about life. So the things that we're learning here in our fasting space are applicable to other areas of our lives. So here's the question. What part of your life is ready to run on a system? What part of your life is ready to run on systems instead of efforts? Yeah? Because we want to make sure that what we're doing is consistent with that. And that brings us to principle number 3. And it is that rhythm reinforces strength. Rhythm is the soundtrack of sustainability. Every strong system has a beat, a predictable pattern that creates power. By 56 hours, your body's rhythm is locked in. Hunger waves have come and they're gone. They may come, but they go like tides. And you are getting energy, and energy is going up. You're making connections in your mind because remember, beta hydroxybutyrate, right? Very good for the brain. So those energy levels peak and they settle with precision. That's not luck, that's rhythm built by design. If you have hunger waves that come, you begin to predict them because you understand how your body works. So consistency turns chaos into clarity. Here's some science that goes with that. Your circadian rhythm is coordinating metabolic activity. Hormone release, digestion, sleep, they're all synchronized. When you fast at a consistent interval, all of those work together. That harmony reduces stress and increases resilience. When I first started fasting and recording these episodes, my schedule was erratic. My energy spiked and crashed. And once I set a predictable rhythm for walking, for fasting, for writing, everything became aligned. Ideas, focus, recovery, that's the power of rhythm. In fact, I think I mentioned several weeks ago that I had developed a new system for organizing what I do, my life, organizing what I do here on the show. And I can't tell you the calm that has come over so many aspects of my life because everything is now structured here. At some point, I'm going to have to show you guys that. So what daily pattern, even a small one, could you enable or establish this week to restore your rhythm? What's one thing that you can do that will help to do that? Remember, structure gave you stability. Effort built a system. Rhythm made it strong. Now, let's see how feedback keeps it alive. So that's principle number 4. Feedback fuels adaptation. Every design needs feedback. Every time you want to change, every time you're growing, every time you are trying to make improvement. Without feedback, even the best systems will fail. Not because they're weak, but because they're blind. There's no mechanism for adjustment. The body has systems that are giving feedback. By 56 hours, my body is sending clear feedback signals. And yours is sending signals as well. Maybe you feel sharp, maybe you feel focused, or maybe a little lightheaded or restless. Those are not failure signals. Those are pieces of data that your body can use. Your glucose patterns, your heart rate, your hydration levels, all of this is information. At this stage, your body is a little dashboard, if you will. It's showing you what works and what needs refinement. Feedback isn't friction. It's a conversation with your design. If you ever feel frustrated by the fast, particularly during that dip or a slower day, remember the system isn't broken, it's just talking to you. Several months ago, I felt lightheaded. I was out doing some things, taking some kids camping, and I was out, and I was bending down to put in some stakes in the ground, and felt a bit lightheaded, woozy, vision got a little dark. That was not a failure. That was my body telling me something. And later on, I realized that I had not been hydrating. But it is a mechanism to keep me consistent. It's just talking to you. It's not broken. And just in life, feedback is how we debug our design in whatever area it is. Saving money, relationships, building a house, going through school, whatever it is. That's why high performers measure everything. Not to judge, not to beat themselves up, but to adjust. When I started monitoring my continuous glucose monitor readings, I learned that certain stresses raised my blood sugar. Actually, the stresses raised my blood sugar more than some foods did. That was new. That feedback changed how I worked, how I rested, how I recovered, even how I related to other people. It wasn't failure, it was guidance. And at 56 hours, cortisol levels are dropping. Growth hormone stabilizes, and your body is operating in harmony. That's your system saying, I've adapted. I'm here. How do we apply that over the course of our lives? Where do you need to start listening to feedback instead of fighting it? And like I said, hey, we are learning how to fast, but fasting teaches us so much about life in general. And once you start recording, responding to feedback, repetition will lock it in for you. And that brings us to our principle next. Number 5, repetition. So identity holds change. So I say repetition. Identity holds change. So the things that we are developing, the systems that we are putting in place, they are no longer the things that we are trying to do. They are now the things that we are. If you've been walking, you are no longer trying to walk, you are a walker. If you've been strength training, you are no longer trying to strength train, you are a person who strength trains. If you have been watching your diet and been going along with the balanced bites idea, you're no longer trying to do that, that's who you are. And your identity is so important because identity will hold the change. Identity will do for us what we sometimes can't and won't do for ourselves, or are unable to do for ourselves because of the situations where we are. Identity is amazing in its ability to keep us going because it's now who we are. At this stage, the fast is no longer something we're doing, it's who we are. Your identity and your design have become one. In psychology, we call this integration. When your behavior aligns with your belief, the system sustains itself naturally. Let me say it again. When your behavior aligns with your belief, rhythm and alignment, then the system sustains itself. There's no friction. There's no tension. Design builds systems. Systems builds identity, and identity sustains the change. Habits become encoded in the basal ganglia. That's the brain's automation system. That's why what feels hard at first becomes effortless later. Your brain now identifies with the new pattern. When I started fasting, I had to remind myself why I was doing it over and over and over. And I've told you and said to you, hey, put some mantras, put some things on your wall, put some commitment statements so that you are reminded. Now I don't question why I fast. It's simply part of what I do and who I am. It's as natural as walking, as teaching, as breathing. That's identity alignment, because my rhythm, my reason for doing it, is strong enough to say to me in those times when it seems like life is pulling me elsewhere, hey, no, this is not how we're going to go. We are doing this for a reason. Where in your life are you still trying to change behavior without changing identity? You've built a structure. You've trained the system. You've become the design. Yeah? And there is harmony that goes with that. There's harmony that says, okay, this is where we are. This is how we work. This is what is going on in our lives. That identity push comes once we've designed, once we've built that system. So let's look at some science. Let's take a quick look under the hood of what's happening inside your system right now. Glucose is stable. It's balanced. No major spikes. Insulin is at its lowest point. Fat stores are opening. Energy is flowing. Your ketones are fueling your brain. That's why mental clarity increases. Growth hormone is up to many times more than it is normally. Your body is protecting muscles while repairing tissues. Autophagy is at full activation. Cellular cleanup is going on. Inflammatory markers are decreasing. There's less swelling, better focus, improved recovery. That's your body in design mode. Calm, efficient, optimized. You're not starving, you're sustaining. At 56 hours, the system is not fighting the design, it is fulfilling it. This is why fasting works so well as a teacher. It shows us that structured processes, and when we have structure, surrender, structure and success coexist. They go hand in hand. You build the path, your body executes the plan, and then you watch it hold itself together. Now that is tremendous. And now that you know what's happening inside, let's turn it inward. What's happening in you? What's going on with you right now? And so here's your prompt. Where in your life is discipline ready to become design? So think about it. Maybe it's your morning routine. Maybe it's a mindset mastery. Maybe it's how you respond to stress. Remember, sustainability doesn't start with perfection. It starts when you build a pattern that no longer requires permission. You don't have to rebuild your life every Monday. Build it once, refine it continuously, and let the design hold you. That's what fasting is teaching you. The difference between holding on and being held up by the system that we've defined. So, let me close with this. And we're going to pull it all together. Structure creates stability. Effort becomes systems. Rhythm reinforces strength. Feedback fuels adaptation. And identity holds change. This is the operating system of limitless living. It's how you build a health that lasts. Not from emotion, but from architecture. Discipline starts the change. Design sustains it. And as we continue in the process, we'll learn more and more about the blueprints that we put together and the systems that take us to the place we need to go so that we can get to that ultimate thing, long, healthy life. Because that's what we're shooting for. So keep walking in rhythm. Keep listening to your feedback. Keep repeating what works until it becomes who you are. And we continue to live limitless lives as we continue to do the things we need to do to be successful and to keep ourselves alive as long as possible and to be as healthy as possible. All right, all right. So you guys know what I'm going to say, right? Yes, I love that conversation. I do love that conversation because it is so powerful to understand that as we are consistent, as we go through the process, it becomes. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it becomes simpler and less difficult. Because we've built that rhythm, built that routine. And that's what the blueprint structure is all about. It is what do we do so often that we no longer have to think about it. We use this, right? And this happens on quote unquote the negative side, right? So if we're not paying attention, we develop habits. And those habits happen because we're not intentional. And so all of a sudden, oh my goodness, look at that. I can't stop doing that thing. That happens because of consistency in that area. We now want to use that same idea to go on the other side. And as you have created these amazing benefits, you're fasting and you're exercising and you're thinking about your food in a different way, and you're seeing these amazing results. You're losing weight, blood sugars are better, blood pressure's gone down, you're off medications, you have more energy than you've had in years. So you've achieved that. And you've achieved that by your effort and by your consistency. Now, we want that to be the rhythm. We want that to be the system. We want that to be the pattern that happens. And that is what Blueprints is all about. So it's not no longer about the effort. It's now about the structure that we have, that we've created, and how do we maintain that over the long haul, because you have had tremendous improvements. I'm gonna raise my hand because I've had some. Went to my doctor recently, my ophthalmologist, and he said, man, I can't believe what I'm seeing now compared to where we were. You've seen me, you've watched my weight compared to where I was. You've seen my blood sugars, my A1C. And as I hear you and listen to you and see the successes you're having, the weight that's down, the personal victories that you're getting over eating, those munchies, the benefits you're getting by getting off of medication, the improvement that you're having in your fatty liver and in your cholesterol. It's a system that works, a system that you have been instrumental in working and setting up. Now let's keep the system going. Let's keep the structure there so that we can be successful. Hey, I am so excited because one of the systems that we have, the Triple E Formula for Success, we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts to help you change your mindset, see things from a different way, from a different angle, and to be able to understand what's going on in your body, how the body works, so that you can make decisions that are consistent with how the body is designed. Once again, there's that word, design. We empower with the tools. All of these things that we're learning are tools. How do we put these things into practice? Because education without empowerment to do something, that doesn't work. I can tell you that from personal experience, from someone who had the knowledge but did not have the tools and didn't understand the tools. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. And the encouragement comes from the community that you are part of, the community that continues to push and hold and continues to allow us to be who we are, playing our own game as we're developing these systems to be successful. If you've not done so yet, make sure you get over to our website, DwainWoodeMD.com, and click on the button that says "Learn More" right below the playlist that we have there, and join us in our accelerator program so that we can all work together to improve our health, improve our lives. Remember, long, healthy life is what we're shooting for. I'm always excited when I get to hang out with you, to see the benefits that you're having in your life. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll do our complete check-in, our completed check-in as we do our 72-hour fast. We break that. We'll talk about how to prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast, and how to break the fast. You get to see what I eat for the very first time in 72 hours. Come on and hang out with us. On Saturday night, we have video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. And then on Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central, we have This Week in Review. And then we'll be right back here on Monday at 7 p.m. Central for Dwain Woode MD Live as we continue walking through the Blueprint series. Join us in the mornings. Join us each day. Let me say it that way. Join us each day as we continue in our MOVE campaign. It is designed to give you a space so that you can have time set aside for exercise, for movement, for rowing, for yoga, for meditation, for stretching, for strength training, for walking, for swimming, whatever it is. There's a time that's set aside for day. You don't have to reinvent that. You get to come hang out with us as we walk through that process together. Okay? So come on back, see us. Hey, good night to everybody who's out there. Thank you for coming through and hanging out. I see you, Gian. I see you, Jennifer. I see you, Steve. Thank you for being in our space with us. Let me do this. Let's go back here for just a second. Let's see. Yoo-hoo! Shaquille, thank you for coming through. And Steve is saying, great job, Jennifer. Gian says no snacking. That's right, no snacking. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at that promo for our Move campaign, and then we'll be out of here. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow in our check-in. Come on back and see what I'm going to eat, and then we'll see you in the course of the rest of the week. Bye-bye. Welcome to Move, metabolic optimization via exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is Move. Let's get started.